As a dad, there is no heavier feeling than laying down at night and realizing that you didn't truly connect with your kids because you were too busy surviving your schedule. I used to feel like this all the time, and then I started to realize something really big for me, and that is that quantity doesn't always equal quality, right? So it's so easy for us to think, oh, I have my kids all the time, or I have my kids this day, this day, this day. And so we're good because I'm with them, I'm here physically. And I started realizing that it's more about the micro moments. I preach this all the time, right? So if you are having any sort of dad guilt because you feel like you don't have any free time and you're not able to connect with your kids as much as you would like, watch this video, stick around, because I'm going to show you the mindset that helped me when it comes to building deeper bonds with both of my children. If you're new to the channel, my name is Odini McBean. I am a mindful fatherhood coach, also the creator of the 365 Dad Journal, 365 prompts just to help dads clear their energy and reflect and be more self-aware and parent mindfully. Also help dads build calm minds, practice a mindfulness practice, and also build strong habits and build deeper bonds with their children. So that's what I'm all about, and that's what this channel is all about. So welcome. Back to the topic. So one thing that I've realized is my mindset of being busy is just that. It's a mindset. It's a state of mind. It's not the actual reality, because being busy is perspective, right? I always say, you find somebody who you know and you're like, yo, this dude is the busiest man I know. And I guarantee you, I can find you somebody that's going to look at his schedule and be like, you have a lot of time, as opposed to me, I don't have any time. And then we'll find somebody else that can look at that other guy's schedule and say the same. Right? Busy is a state of mind. Busy is something that we say because we want to feel like we're high achievers and we're so productive. Busy is a state of mind. Busy is what you make it. Right? And once I started thinking like that, I then started to realize, so I'm a co-parenting dad, right? So my time with my kids, I feel like truly is limited because, I'm not with them every single day of the month, every single day of the year. So when I have my children, I really had to start realizing that the time truly matters, but it's what you do in the time that matters more. Right. And I didn't start realizing little things like this until I started journaling my emotions of feeling like, hold on, like what's going on with my connection with my kids? Like, I feel like it's a little shaky. I started meditating on this type of stuff. And these are the things I started realizing, like, wait, it's not about the quantity. It's more so about the quality. Now, the reality is a lot of quality can't come if you don't have some quantity. So this is my first thing I want to tell all of my men out there, my fathers out there. Really be intentional about spending time with your children, right? Because that is important. And this could be someone who is co-parenting. This could be someone who lives in the same home with their kids every single day. You can live with your kids daily and not be present. That is a real thing, right? So no matter the situation you're in, be present first and foremost. Figure that out. Figure out how to be more intentional on how to be a presence in their lives. The next thing is, now, don't just be a stick figure, right? Don't just be in the room. Be somebody who is now going to focus on how that time is being spent. And someone like me, I work a 9 to 5, I run a business, I create content, I have a personal life. So, I date, all of these things. I help other friends market their business. I just got my MBA a couple years ago. So I've always been somebody who has, I would say, be busy, right? I have always been a busy guy, whatever that means. But one thing I never took for granted was the time I have with my children. Now, obviously, as my son gets older, he's 14, that dynamic is going to look a little different. As my daughter gets older, she's 4, that dynamic will look a little different. But when I am on dad mode, I am on dad mode. And so the trick is to realize the beauty in the micro moments. I say this all the time, micro moments. That's where the real beauty lies. So to bring this back again, as a co-parenting dad, I know some dads who they rarely ever see their kids, right? And unlike me, where I'm driving up and down the highway, I feel like every day to see my kids almost, right? And so when I have my children and I talk to some of these men, the first thing they tell me is, well, when I have them, I gotta still achieve my goals as well, right? And that's something a lot of men say, and that's true, right? No one's telling you when you're a father that you have to just give up your ambitions. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is you can still have your ambitions, but if you are in the mindset that you're busy, your mind controls your reality. We all know this. So if you're going to just keep saying, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, you're going to then neglect your kids because your mind has already played out your reality for you. So the first thing is to just be aware that being busy is just a mindset. So once you be aware that busy is just a mindset, little things like this just start happening naturally. Oh, my daughter is with me in the living room. She's just hanging out. I really want to read my 10 pages, right? Every day I want to read at least 10 pages of a business book or spiritual book. But am I going to make it seem like because my kids are here, I can't do that? No, because I know that that's a mindset. So what I'm going to do, because now I know that's a mindset and I can choose how I think, I'm going to say, hey, Ken, you want to sit next to me while I read? Of course, she's going to say yes. Right? So she's a daddy's girl. So she's going to sit next to me and she does her thing. I do my thing. And next thing you know, 20 minutes has gone by and we are connecting. We're having that physical connection. She's doing her thing. I'm doing my thing. But I have read probably more than 10 pages. And I did that the entire time while we were nestled next to each other together. Those are micro moments. That only took 10, 20 minutes, 20, 25 minutes, but that's a micro moment. Kids benefit from that. If you're with your kids and you're just not truly there and you don't give them that FaceTime, that emotional connection they need, when they get older, they're going to depend on you even more. Even worse, when they get older, they're going to start second guessing their self-worth because of this, because they didn't get 20, 30 minutes of focus time with you. They're going to start believing that they're not worthy of that from anyone, from potential partners, the jobs they pick. They're going to always feel that they don't even deserve quality time from anybody because as a child, they never got it from us, right? So that's so important. So something else I do when, it comes to trying to maintain, a level of productivity or a level of ambition with all my different projects and also maintain that connection with my children is I talk to them about what I have going on in life. Very vulnerable thing to do, and most dads that I come in contact with, before I kind of show them this framework, they never even thought about little things like that. So like my son, I'll tell my son straight up, this is what I have planned. This is what I got going on at work. This is what I'm trying to do in my business. There may be a possibility that on this day, I may not be able to do this thing that I know you probably want to do, but I really need to get this done. And then I promise, once this is done, we can do this. Or once this is done, we can plan around it for the next time. Just kind of be vulnerable and say what you have going on. And anything that I have going on that I can involve them in, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to sit on a coaching call with a client with my daughter making a bunch of noise behind me. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to work on my website with my son and my daughter next to me. I am going to go to Barnes & Noble with my son and he's going to read a book and he's going to do his schoolwork and I'm going to update the copy for my journal page on my website, right? I'm going to start to schedule my content for my reels or whatever. And you could be pulling up your work spreadsheet and doing your Excel things at Barnes & Noble with your kids next to you while they're reading, right? There are ways that we have to find the moments to infuse time with our kids while we're also doing things that we need to do as individuals. And so the more and more you find the way to blend and fuse the two, the more you'll realize the bonds become deeper, the connection just becomes more deeper, because it's almost natural to do things together, as opposed to that one time when you're like, hey kids, like, let's all go do this. And they're like shocked almost, because they're like, wow, so it's a Thursday and you want to go do this? That never happens, right? Uh, and this has been the story sometimes for me in my life, and I'm sure it's been the story for many of you in your life, even as a father, but even more so when you were a child, right? And so the main premise of this video is just to get you to understand that being busy, having no free time, is a mindset that you are choosing. You're choosing to have that state of mind. And because you're choosing to have that state of mind, that means that you can also choose to have the other state of mind. And the other state of mind is, I'm not too busy for these kids. I do have a lot of things to do, but we're going to find ways to do it together. That's one. The second thing is you realizing, don't take the time for granted with your children, right? Oh, I'm with them every day. Oh, I'm with them for the next few days. Don't take that time for granted, because we all know nothing is promised. Tomorrow is not promised. So that's where you realize that the quantity means something, but it doesn't mean a damn thing if you're not making that time of equal quality. So the next time you're with them, put the phones away, do things that you know that they enjoy, and do it together. Because that is when you start realizing that you can't take the time you have here on earth for granted, and you especially can't take the time that you're showing up as a dad for granted, because tomorrow is not promised. Okay? I actually get really deep into topics like this in the 365 Dad Journal. So every prompt that I wrote in here actually came from a real life fatherhood experience. And I know so many of you will relate to that, right? It's not just cookie cutter chat GPT prompts, right? These are prompts that I've curated specifically based off of my experience as a father, my experience as an active and present father. So if you are in that boat, definitely check out the 365 Dad Journal, and just gives you the ability to write your thoughts as a father and to reflect on them and show up with more intentionality the next day, and so forth and so forth. I appreciate you all. I'll catch you next week.